Welcome to our second night of debate recaps. Now, of course, if you're listening in, we ran these both on Thursday, which I told Jen was Saturday. They're going to run both tomorrow. We had our double-decker, all debate recaps all day long. Hopefully you guys are getting as drunk listening to them as we did watching them live. And I'm here. I'd like to welcome in a very special guest. I'm sure you have heard her, seen her, tweeted at her. Jen, the Libertarian, also known as Jen Monroe. Welcome for the first time to what is the de facto Electric Liberty Land, because I'm hosting it, but is also a debate recap.
Thank you for having me. This is so wonderful, and I'm sure everybody is as drunk as we are right now, so please go on.
We'll see. Howie Snowdon also has come in to join me as my fellow lion. Howie, I know you were just drinking beer, and I want to find out what Jen was drinking too, because I think she was hoping we were going to be super trash, which makes me think she's super trash. But Howie, what are you drinking? How drunk?
So besides beer, my wife opened, I don't know where she got it. It was a can of, it was like lemonade, vodka, and limoncello. And she took a sip and was like, yeah, this is garbage. And I'm like, oh, let me see. I mean, it's not that bad. I'll drink it. But yeah, besides that, I've been drinking a Dogfish Head sequenced sour ale.
Ah, nice. That's pretty good. So, Jen, what are you down over there?
Well, because I am a professional, I am drinking Trash Palomas. Yeah, and if you want me to explain this to you, I can.
Yes, please.
Okay, so to try to make this somewhat a short explanation of what a trash paloma is, this kind of started with Matt Welch. And everybody blames it on me. It kind of started with Matt. But here it is. You can, if you want to, leave your house and go and have a actual paloma that involves grapefruit juice and all sorts of other ingredients. Or you can stay in your house.
You're writing this down, kids, so you can make it at home.
Yeah.
Remember that grapefruit juice and a bunch of other shit. All right, continue.
Or you could stay in your house and get a bottle of white tequila and Fresca, and you can have what I'm having right now, and you can mix this however you want. So, yeah, this is my third, I think.
Nice. So it's just tequila.
I don't know. I've lost
tequila and Fresca. Did you put grapefruit juice in too, or is that optional?
That is optional.
Okay.
I love Fresca. I will say, I know it makes you sound like a bourgeoisie fool, but I love it. It's so good. I remember I used to bug my mom to buy it. Something about it.
I've never had it.
It's good. That and Orangina. Orangina is even better. It's like an Orange Julius. It's like if you took all the cream out of an Orange Julius, that's an Orangina. No,
okay,
nobody is Orangina fans.
Well, you both have to get down with this. So there you go.
All right. Well, I'm drinking a ghetto michelada. I have some Bloody Mary, thick and spicy Bloody Mary mix, and I'm just dumping into Modelo. So that's what I'm chugging down here. And I'm about one big pounder deep. So I gotta pound this and then pound another one during this, and then we'll be all on the same playing field, I think. Initial reactions, other than this thing was way too goddamn long and there's way too many people on stage.
Jesus.
Jen, initial reactions. What was your overall impression of this debate? And then we'll get into some nitty-gritty specifics. So just give me the 10,000-foot view of the debate from your perspective.
10,000-foot view, I have to say, much the way I felt about the first round of debates, night one was way more interesting than night two.
See, I didn't see night one. Did you, Howie, did you watch the first night or no?
No, yes, but I listened to the Lions of Liberty recap this morning.
See, I have not listened yet. Okay, Jen, so what was different between last night and tonight? Like, was just less fire, just less specific points?
It was like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. Night one on this particular round, and again, if you have not been keeping track, this is the second round of this, so we're actually on like hour 8 of debates that we have watched on this. But hour one, especially with like we had like Warren and Bernie and everybody else on the stage, and Marianne, who stole the show, obviously. But it was just, there was a lot more substantial policy debates going on night one than there was on night two. And I felt that way about the first round. I feel this way about this round too, where a lot of the candidates on stage were basically just kind of bumper stickering this. And it wasn't as interesting to me this night as it was last night.
Okay. So that's your overall take. What about you, Howie? What was your overall quick impression of the entire 3 hours? Like I said, I have specific things we're going to talk about, but just, we're fresh off it right now. So what do you think, taking it all in?
So it started off, I was kind of annoyed because it was just like the Biden Kamala Harris show for a while. And it's like, what the fuck? Isn't anyone else going to get to talk? And then, I love this shit and there were some great points, but then when it got over 2 hours, it was just too long. It's like, please end, just wrap it up. But there were some highlights that I'm sure we'll get into. Oh yeah,
we'll definitely get into the highlights. Yeah, I agree that at 2 hours, I think would have been enough. It's just like the problem is that they get onto these topics. Like how long did they spend on the environment where everybody's agreeing to saying the same thing? They got into 15 minutes about the bus shit that they already got into the debate before it. Why bring it back up? Why do we need to hear it?
Yeah. Did we talk about healthcare for an hour?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the first hour of the whole debate.
Not the healthcare is not important, but we're also in the middle of the longest wars in U.S. history, and we spend half of the debate on healthcare.
Yeah,
it's going to be the healthcare election, honestly, and that depresses the fuck out of me. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like even in the first round of debates, there was a substantial amount of time spent towards talking about healthcare. And then obviously tonight there was a substantial amount of time spent talking about healthcare. But overall, it's just like I say 4 hours. It was really closer to 5 hours of debate that we just consumed over 2 nights.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's just for us, by us, for us. No normal person is watching this shit right now. Like nobody who is planning on even voting in the primaries is like, hey, it's July of 2019. Let me watch 4 hours of debates between 20 fucking candidates. And it's bias for us.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. In truth, I would rather see them do this in like a Sweet 16 matchup style. Like, wouldn't that be far more interesting? And you space it out. You have half an hour debates between 2 people. You have 5 minutes on 6 topics, and you just go back and forth debate style. Winner gets voted on, kind of like American Idol. Winner gets voted on by the populace, or even make it something even shittier. Make it the Democratic and Republican voters that are going to be putting forth the super delegates. Make it those people can vote. Whatever it is, televise those, but don't do this 3-hour marathon bullshit. Because I agree, no one's watching it. I mean, I know I had to do a show, so I'm like, okay, I must watch it. But God, like during that healthcare shit, I was tuning out. I was like, thank God I can tweet and read other people's shit on it. I was gone insane.
Do they actually think that this like socialist healthcare is what the American people want? Like, it's not just New York and California voting. There's a reason why you lost in the Electoral College. It's people hate Obamacare. They're not going to be excited about the government taking over all of it. And I'm sure to plenty of like regular people, banning private insurance is a pretty scary thought. So I don't know. They're losing this one.
Well, and to see the people turn on, anybody that dare venture that taking people's insurance away, like Bennett, I actually thought was kind of interesting. He's a little bit goopy, like I expected him. And Bennett, if you don't remember, he's Michael Bennett. He just kind of has this doofusy voice. Kind of like he sounds like a guy who just goes over and over again. But he talks too
slow too.
He does. Oh God, his opening statement was so slow.
It's like out with it. Come on.
I'm Michael Bennett. So, but he had a good point about taking people's private insurance away and taking away like the workplace, and having people get workplace insurance and all that, and take that away. So there were some good points, but yeah, it just went on and on and on. And I just don't think people in general are going to subscribe to anything that is going to put them in a precarious position where they have to trust the government to take care of their healthcare. Like, I know people like to pretend, and I was just doing a whole show raging about how people are given, want the nanny state to take these things over. But do you guys actually think that the everyday American would trust the government to take care of healthcare? I mean, Jen, do you think that? Yeah, right? I mean, what's your thoughts?
And even going back to the first night of the round 2 debates, Delaney tried to make that point to everybody. Is like, okay, these policies that you're proposing, like Medicare for all, Green New Deal. These are not going to play well in the general. And he basically got told, like, shut up, centrist. Right. But it's like he tried. God bless him. He tried his best to try to put that out there. But yeah, it's like you're pandering to a certain group of people who it seems like they are much more. There's much more of them than there actually are, and this is what happens when you think that Twitter is more like representative of what the voting demographic is than it actually is. And so you have this group of people who are very vocal on Twitter. And so it kind of creates dialogue, and it creates like this narrative. And so many people have bought into this that are actually running as Democratic nominees. But it's like you're pandering to a group of people who are actually in real life very small. And it's hard to tell where the middle is because they're silent. Like you can't, like, we don't know because they're quiet. Like, you can't tell. So what you're pandering to is not the kind of people who are going to get you the votes in November of 2020.
Yeah, well, I mean, de Blasio actually had, most of de Blasio's points are terrible. And a lot of these people, you can sum them up. Like, honestly, I want to just put I can't remember which one of you mentioned that it was just bumper stickering. Jen, I think you did. But it's like, you can put all they're saying on a bumper sticker. Like Andrew Yang, he has some interesting things to say, but it all comes back to his one idea. He has one idea, and it's to give everybody money. Everything comes back to that one fucking idea. Every single concept. Women, the page gap, give them money. Entrepreneurship, give them money. And I'm getting ahead of myself.
Dude, he's breaking the stereotype, though, that Asians are good at math. He clearly is not good at math.
Totally. But like de Blasio, his one thing is tax the rich. But at least I give him credit. At the end, they were talking about this impeachment shit. And he's like, look, I'm for impeaching him, but the average American doesn't care. They want you to focus on their problems. Why would they give a shit about impeaching Trump? They don't fucking care.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, going back to that kind of pandering to a certain online bubble of people who, I mean, this whole kind of Democratic debate at this point in the election cycle, I mean, we're July of 2019. Like, the fact that we're even having debates at this point is insane, if you really think about it. But obviously, these people are pandering to a certain crowd. And like I said, I don't think that this is going to play well in the general. Like, what they're saying is not going to play well. And I don't, like, this is all political theater at this point. Like I said, it's by us, for us. And it's for us to consume, all of us who are in the bubble, to talk about, and nobody who is like an actual normal, rational, sane human being is watching any of this shit right now. Like nobody. No,
we're all mad. We're all insane. Yeah. We're all drunk and insane.
Like no normal person just consumed 4 hours of Democratic debates over 2 days. Like nobody did this. It's just us.
Yeah, agreed.
They're in a real catch-22 though. It's like you can't win the primary with positions that will win you the general. Like, they're screwed. The things you have to say to win this primary will lose the general election for sure. Yeah, I don't know if you could do a total like flip right after the primaries. I don't know how to play well.
I was thinking, right? Then they'll show all the clips of you flipping on your own words, and that'll crush you in the later election, and Trump will use that against you. No, they are completely screwed. And I swear to God, we were talking about this months and months ago when AOC started coming out and getting popular. Where it was like, look, man, she's going to push all these people to the left, and they're going to have to take these positions publicly. Meanwhile, they're losing the entire base, and then you're going to be done. Like, it's done. It's a done deal.
I couldn't believe how many of these candidates have fell into like the impeachment trap, though. Like, even Nancy Pelosi is smart enough to know that that's just going to help Donald Trump. Yeah. And like almost every single one of them up there were saying it. I mean, like, thank God there's at least one sane person, Tulsi Gabbard, is talking about, why don't we ease tensions with other nuclear powers like Russia? Because that's actually serious, could possibly be a world-ending thing.
Yeah, and then there was like a weird conversation last night about whether you would completely take like nuclear war off the table or not. And I don't even entirely remember how it came up, but it became a discussion. And there were candidates who were not willing to say, like, no, I won't take nuclear war off the table.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's so.
And not even that, but nuclear first strike. Like, nobody has even attacked us yet, but we're going to nuke. Come on. All right.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
I'm trying to think how would that come up? Because I mean, North Korea barely even came up on a blip tonight. It was mentioned tangentially.
They couldn't even nuke us. I mean, maybe South Korea, but
no, they couldn't. Well, Russia didn't really come up either, except for somebody had Cory Booker going off about how the Russians are going to come for our black women voters. It was such a weird. I was like, "What are you talking about, Cory? What?" He's like, "Okay, the Russians are coming for you, and our most vulnerable women, the black women." You're like, all right. I didn't know Putin had a specific fetish, but BBWs, man, whatever you're going to go for. All right, so let's get into some specifics here. I don't even know; it's hard to find. So we've got a list of different topics, but was there a moment that stood out to you as somebody being more libertarian than others? And I suspect we'll all have a similar one to cite. But I'll go with you first, Howie. What was your most libertarian moment of this debate?
So I don't know if it was the most libertarian, but I enjoyed it the most. And it was libertarian. But when Tulsi went after Kamala for being a cop and brought about, you put 15,000 people in jail for marijuana, then laughed about it. You were like, I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest. Actually, since you started this late while I was waiting here, I donated $5 to Tulsi Gabbard campaign because I need more of this.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous moment. Jen, what about you?
This is my personal hobby horse, but I was really glad that Julian Castro had at least a moment to try to discuss his plan for decriminalizing border.
Okay, yeah, I want to talk to you about this. Yeah, okay. Yes, because for me, I tweeted out, I'm trying to think. I was like, I don't think decriminalizing the border is really going to change much either way necessarily. I guess. You could say that if it's not, either way, these people aren't charged necessarily with a crime. They're getting put in to get processed, basically to go have a judge, have all these things. So if they decriminalize, what happens to them then? Because I don't know what's going to change by decriminalizing it and making it a civil matter rather than, okay, now it's a crime. I just don't see what's really going to change and how you're going to handle it.
Okay, so how it basically boils down now is if you have the border, it's a misdemeanor, but it is a misdemeanor that you can be charged with jail time if somebody chooses to charge you with that. And so that is what is leading to a lot of the detentions in CPB. And I'm going to try to make this short because I can go on for forever on immigration. But from what I understand on Castro's plan and the idea of decriminalizing the border is you really take that offense of hopping the border illegally and taking it from being something that you can have jail time for to something that is a misdemeanor, the way we understand a misdemeanor to be, which is like if you got a parking ticket and you could get a fine for that.
So they would, instead of detaining them then because they could be going to jail, they would then just kind of turn them around, give them a ticket, and be like, get out of here.
It's like a summary offense, like when I got the public drunkenness.
Right.
Like
but they immediately let them go, right? It's like basically catch and release.
Yeah, basically. And a lot of the people who are hopping the border, and again, I'm going to try to keep this short because there's a lot of backstory on this, but okay, so say you hop the border and then you go present yourself to Border Patrol and you say, I'm applying for asylum. You still committed that misdemeanor of hopping the border. Right. So if you decriminalize that and you make that be something that's more of a fine versus something that you can be jailed for, then you eliminate that ability to detain somebody just for hopping the border. It's like, okay, so you did this thing and there's, say, a $500 fine or $1,000 fine or whatever dollar fine. And you're still, it's not open borders in the way that it's still, it's the way like decriminalizing versus legalizing.
Right. But then I look forward to the future or nobody pays their fine and then they come over, then there's a warrant for them anyway. So then they get detained. So it's kind of like a zero. I mean, either way, you're still going to get detained eventually because none of these people are going to pay the fine. and then they're going to have a warrant for them, and then it's going to be like, well, now we can detain you. So it's basically delaying the inevitable.
So I was glad to hear a couple candidates. I think Tulsi was one of them talking about we need to make the legal immigration process easier and actually able.
Yeah, that was a good point. But she said that in advance of she said, don't put the cart in front of the horse. She was asked about, I think, paying for education for illegals.
And to me, the
immigration system.
I don't want anybody kept in inhumane conditions, and I'm fine with anybody. Yeah. I'm fine with anybody coming in, and I don't like us paying social benefits, but that's like a pittance compared to the money. That's not what's bankrupting it. It's like a drop in the bucket. The only thing I'm concerned about is people coming from these leftist South American countries and voting. I just don't want people voting that don't understand with all the problems we have, what has made America free and prosperous and why it's a place you want to come to.
Yeah.
I just don't want everyone from South America coming here and voting to make it like South America. Just like people from California moved to Texas and other places and start voting for all the same things that ruined their state. To me, it's let everybody come in. Just can we please get some voter ID laws or something? Yeah. I don't know.
Well, on that topic, I tweeted this out sarcastically, but still it holds true. Gary Johnson still better plan for fixing the immigration issue, I think, than anybody on stage tonight. Because Gary's, I'm gonna butcher. It's been a pretty long time, but Gary's position was basically just to really open it up as far as working visas, allow people to go back and forth across the border and work freely, and that really, right there, would solve a lot of the problem. I mean, just enabling people to come over and have a day work visa, go home, keep the money, go back, pay the taxes for whatever you're here, and when you get paid the wages. There you go.
And the only people that I am worried about coming are, say, terrorists. So solution to that, let's stop bombing people all over the world and creating terrorists and making them hate us and want to come here and attack us.
There you go.
That'd be my solution for that. And also violent criminals. So where it's well, maybe if we ended the drug war, which puts all this profit behind these violent cartels and makes it worth doing all this awful shit for, that might change things a bit.
Yeah. Jen, you're going to give something to add. Maybe many things, but we just keep talking and then you probably forget them and then you come back to
That is all assuming that these are economic migrants, which they are not at this point, especially people coming from the Northern Triangle. And again, I don't want to make this a whole thing about immigration because I can go on for hours and hours and hours on that point. But yeah, the asylum process is something that is, people say it's being abused, but it's the only way that these people have to try to get any kind of legal status in this country. And it's really a very deep, kind of complicated issue. And I mean, I'm happy to get into it if somebody wants to.
Not on this show. We get too much other shit to get into, but give me the Cliff's Notes real quick.
Basically, people coming from the Northern Triangle, I mean, obviously, you're talking about Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. These are, to be blunt, shithole countries. I mean, it is what it is. And it's countries that are very rife with just gang wars. You've got, government corruption. You've got all this stuff. And so these people are fleeing these kind of situations.
It's like Baltimore, right?
Kind of. Except
rats don't flee the sinking ship. They stay and they breed in Baltimore.
Except if you're in Baltimore, you can just pack up and leave and go to another country and nobody really asks you any questions. But for these people, there is no other legal option other than the asylum process. The visa process that we have right now is not really available to these people. You can't apply for a work visa because obviously you have to have an employer sponsoring you, and non-work visas are just insanely difficult to get right now anyway. So this is their only way of trying to do it legally. And there's a lot of shit going on at the border that is just straight up illegal and extra legal. And so this is, it's complicated, basically.
Yeah. It is. Well, it is. It's very complicated. Yeah, it's very complicated. That's the problem with any of these problems that get put out here. And that's what nobody seems to want to acknowledge, is that these are all incredibly complicated issues. Any single thing they put out there is way too complicated, and these people come out, they don't really have a solution for it other than some broad proposal, which is itself is going to have all these different ramifications. So typically they just say something nice, they dance around it, and then nothing changes. In reality, like we looked at why Obama and Trump had the exact same goddamn policies on the border, it's because they say something different and nothing else changes. Because they get in there, they get in the office, they go, oh shit. Let's leave it.
So how about when Biden got called out on Obama's record of being deporter in chief?
That was awesome.
Hey, I'm down with it.
And by Don Lemon.
Yeah.
Right?
The only thing I was torn about when he responded, he's like, well, I gave my advice to President Confidence. I'm not going to break that. I kind of do feel like you should be like, if you can't do that, like, I don't know. But
it'd be funny if Biden's like, I gave my advice and confidence on that, but basically saying like, yo, you shouldn't do it. And Obama's like, the fuck you did, motherfucker, at home on his couch. You throwing me under the bus, Biden? Didn't you have enough trouble with buses earlier?
Joe Biden is like running against Joe Biden of the past. Like his career is like, I got to undo all the things I did my career as a politician.
Totally.
It's like,
but that's like every front runner right now, though, is like you're running against you of the past. Like it's Biden, it's Kamala, it's Bernie, it's Warren, it's every front runner. It has that same problem.
He's so old. I don't know if you guys heard. I didn't hear exactly what he said, but like when they were introducing the beginning, he came out first and Kamala came out and he said something to her. He called her kid.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was like, I'm gonna get you, kid.
It's like,
I'm a kid.
Do you guys think Biden had somebody slipped Joe Biden some extra Werther's Originals tonight? Because he was fucking fired up, man. Like he was coming out swinging.
He seemed like he couldn't put a coherent thought together. Even at the end,
half the time.
He's like, go to Joe 30303.
Was he reading it wrong? Was there a teleprompter he wasn't reading correctly?
How do I go to Joe 3030?
I don't know how to internet. How do I do
but I mean,
he on the internet and put the buttons? I don't know.
He didn't say he should. I think he meant to say text. Like
that's probably what it is. That's probably
it's like you can't go to website Joe 3030.
Dude, you're totally right. That is 100% what happened.
Go on your phone and do the things that you young kids
use your fingers. Oh, another great moment. I jotted this down. Fuck, where was it? Old Biden had. It's like they asked him about the TPP. And I swear to God, he had one note written down for a response, and it was just rules of the road. Because he said like 3 times in the response, he's like, well, we need to make sure that we set the rules of the road. You're not the Chinese, because their rules of the road are not applicable here. And like he just kept saying the wrong thing at the wrong time and then reverting to rules of the road. It was like a catchphrase. It was like a nervous tick. But otherwise, he had some grandpa moments. But I also think, though, he came out like he had some zingers, though. Like, he had some good ones. I loved his line on Gillibrand where he was like, well, you went to all these places with me and you were applauding all my efforts for helping women. And the only thing that seems to have changed is you became a presidential candidate now. Like, that was pretty fucking on point.
Dude, but, she was totally hanging on him before because she's the vice president, pumping his ego. Just like when she said, first thing I do is Clorox the Oval Office or whatever. So somebody tweeted out a picture of her with Harvey Weinstein, picture of her with Bill Clinton. It's like, oh yeah, better Clorox that Oval Office. Like, man.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that had zingers like that, where it's like, well, you were like this 15 minutes ago, and now you're here, and so now you got to attack me. But it's just this debate was boring to me compared to at least last night. It just
God, now I wish I saw last night. Damn.
Yeah, well, Marianne Williamson was in last night. Now Mark got to see her. I haven't gotten to see her yet. I missed the first time she was on. I missed this time she was on.
Oh my God, you guys didn't see Marianne?
Never. No, I'd record Liberty last night, so I missed the debates. I was busy doing shit. All I know is she said dark forces, and that cracked me up.
Yeah, I mean,
hoping Joe Biden would have a slip of the tongue.
I've watched some clips of her, but I've never seen one of the debates that she was in.
Oh my God, am I the only person?
I've seen 2 of the 4 debates, and both of them were not Marianne.
Yeah, me too.
Am I the only person that just like tortures myself by watching all of this just to make content?
I would have watched last night, except Tuesday, Wednesday I just couldn't do it because I got to record Tuesday nights for.
Yeah, I had stuff to do. I DVR'd it. I'm like, maybe I'll watch it before this one today. Yeah. Then I listened to the recap and I'm like, yeah, I think I got the gist.
Yeah, I can skip over it. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Dad.
God.
I was going to ask another question. Okay. I was going to say, what's the most statist moment of the debate? But I don't know. It was all pretty goddamn statist.
All of it.
Yeah. Hard to really pinpoint a moment.
So I'll say one statist thing, though. That the fact that, who was it Kamala? That she's going to fine corporations 1% of their profits yearly for each percent of disparity of this mythical wage gap.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, that kind of plays into the next one, which is who is the most totalitarian, i.e. scariest candidate on stage? And that one, I have two options that I chose, but I'll let you guys decide first.
For me, it's Kamala Harris for sure, cop in chief.
Well, obviously. But I want to back it up for a moment
on
the statist moment, because I actually, and this is kind of to bring it back to night one and the argument that happened on night one, I would say the most statist on this night was Joe Biden, based on his kind of ideas on border security. And kind of echoing back to night one, and I know we're not supposed to be talking about night one, but there was a certain dichotomy going on night one between kind of more the decrim crowd versus the quote unquote border security crowd. And the border security crowd, obviously Bernie and Liz, because obviously if you're going to have a welfare state, then you have to have strong borders, obviously. That's the whole nother argument, but whatever. And the crowd that's more towards the Julian Castro idea of decriminalizing the border. Mm-hmm. And it was a much more stark difference on night one than it was on night two. And Biden was really the only person on night two that I heard really kind of espousing that border security night one kind of jam.
Well, that was his crickets moment. I mean, when he was like, we need to have, it should be illegal to cross the border legally. And it was like, when he finished talking, it was like dead silence in the audience. I'd not heard anything like that before. You could hear a cricket jerking off in the background. But yeah, you're right. That was a little, that was pretty interesting.
That's interesting about Bernie. I didn't see last night, so I didn't know that. But I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if you're preaching this communist nonsense, if you have to take into account the whole world, now you and all your supporters are in the 1%, pal.
Exactly right.
Yeah, Bernie went kind of hard on night one on the border security kind of jam.
Well, how about this phrase from de Blasio? I think it was his opening remarks. I was a little late coming in because I had work shit I just couldn't get out of. But I think de Blasio opened up by saying, he's like, people say they don't want to restructure society. He's like, I want to restructure society. And I was like, Jesus Christ, Stalin, back it the fuck off there, guy. Yeah. How's that worked out in New York for you? People are fleeing in droves, but that was a terrifying moment.
I was surprised he didn't mention that he had a mixed race kid.
No,
like he did at the previous debate.
Yeah, that's true. He did drop that in the previous debate.
It was Cory Booker's talking about how bad of a neighborhood he lived in, and he was like, "Well, I've got a mixed race kid." And
I think Booker was like, "In my neighborhood, we say you're drinking the Kool-Aid." And it's like, everybody says that, Cory. That's not a fucking your neighborhood thing. What are you talking about? I
was also surprised they had an American flag there and sang the national anthem. I was actually not that it's a good or bad thing, but I was shocked. For sure, I was like, "Oh wow, the Democrats are doing this now."
Yeah. Well, that's a thing that they did on night one and night two. The national anthem is a thing that they do now. I
was hoping so bad somebody would kneel. I wanted one of them to kneel so bad.
I was waiting. Everybody was waiting. And nobody kneeled. And we're all so disappointed.
Oh, God, that'd be so funny.
And this is probably a function of everybody who I follow and everybody who I'm friends with. But nobody who I know in New York City likes Bill de Blasio. They all actively hate his ass.
Yeah.
And wish he would die in a fire. So
Yep. Yet he still keeps getting reelected and reelected and reelected. I don't fucking get it. I think maybe because he gets reelected because everybody that hates him slowly moves out of the state. So it's just like the seven people that vote for him are the only ones, and that's he's got the majority.
It's only the people that I'm friends with in New York City who are voting against de Blasio.
I just don't get it.
Hey,
well, how about
not that this matters, but Kristen Gillibrand's fake eyelashes were driving me nuts because she couldn't stop blinking her eyes like crazy. And at the very end, when Andrew Yang was talking, he's like, "We're all up here, makeup on our faces." As I'm like, "Oh, please say and fake eyelashes and look at Kristen Gillibrand."
I have so many thoughts about the fake eyelashes on night 1 and night 2. Can somebody get a full strip, please? And thank you. Neither one of you understands what the fuck I just said. But
I figured you're talking about stripping on stage, which I was for. Marianne Williamson looks pretty fit. Just let's go for it.
No, it's like whoever was doing the makeup for these women, like, figure out how to put on fake eyelashes. And this is from somebody who never puts fake eyelashes on herself because I'm afraid of gluing my eyes shut. But oh my God, no. Anyway, let's move on.
Well, I was going to say, what's the funniest moment of the night for you guys? It could be Gillibrand fake eyelashes, but I mean, for me, I had a few of them. I really thought Andrew Yang's. How would you handle climate change? He's like, not that it's meant to be funny, but I laughed. He's like, well, it's too late. Just got to move to higher land. I was like,
I enjoyed that too. Real talk.
Hilarious. Yeah, real talk with Andrew Yang. Move your loved ones higher. Tough nuts.
But I did wonder, like, if this is a real thing, like, why isn't insurance or, like, say, building a big hotel on the coast out like crazy? Like, those people crunch their numbers and they know.
Why does Al Gore own beachfront property? Why does Bernie Sanders? All these people, none of them believe this shit.
I won't take any of them seriously until they start talking about nuclear energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen, something to add about the what's your funniest moment? I saw you reacting just to the climate change thing, but what do you got for a funny moment too?
Oh my God. There isn't a funny one because all these people are just statist as fuck, and I find it very hard to laugh. Like, it's one of those where it's like, I hate all of you. I hate all of you. Every person on stage, I hate you.
Well, agreed.
Because Marianne's not there.
You got to laugh at the absurdity of it.
And Tulsi. I'll give Tulsi something of a pass.
Yeah.
Especially because of her white suit. Which everybody on Twitter,
I thought that was a good move. A good move. She stood out from the beginning.
And by the way, she also got rid of her skunk stripe. Do you notice that?
Oh, I like that. I didn't notice, but damn it.
She got rid of it.
Not really. Like, it's just kind of, I don't know who did her hair, but it's just kind of like hidden a little bit. Like, I saw it.
Did you? I was staring. And I thought maybe it just got combed back, but it was so prominent in the first debate.
It was like combed back and like gelled down, and so like it maybe the light wasn't hitting it.
Okay.
Before, anyway.
What about this moment? Did you guys like at the end?
What we're discussing is Tulsi's.
We're talking about the real important issues that matter here.
Exactly.
Something I thought was funny was like when they called Don Lemon out for using Republican talking points. It's like, what?
Oh my God!
Who was that? Kamala Harris? Who said that? Kamala Harris called out another Democrat. She's like, when she got, because Kamala Harris, by the way, had a terrible night. I thought she got beaten like a fucking rented mule all night by people.
Yeah.
And like at one point, she had legit criticism of her being, her time as the attorney general. And she's like, these are Republican talking points. I think she was replying to Bennett or something.
But let me explain to y'all about the Republican talking points thing, because y'all didn't watch night 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elizabeth Warren on night 1, basically everything she didn't want to talk about or anything that she disagreed with was a Republican talking point.
Oh, she go, hi, nah, like that.
And well, no, it's like, oh, well, you're just spouting Republican talking points.
Yeah, get out of jail free card.
And that's why Republican talking points is kind of a thing right now. because it started on night one.
It's such a goddamn cheap out.
I think another time, I could be remembering this wrong, but another time might have come out when they were talking about Kirsten Gillibrand signing on to the Green New Deal. Mm-hmm. And they're like, so realistically, how would this work? How would you pay for this? And her answer, she just totally did not answer that question at
all. No, of course not.
But yeah, like if you didn't watch night one, you don't get the Republican talking points kind of joke.
We get it, Jen. You watched night one. Stop rubbing it in our faces. Good for you.
Watch both nights, people. That's all I'm saying is you gotta watch it.
Well, look, people will have listened to the first debate recap when they hear this. So
did you guys see Ben Shapiro's Republican talking points joke?
No, what did he say?
No.
It was like his wife, hey, why don't you go fold the laundry? And him, hey, why don't you quit it with these Republican talking points?
Yeah, like it's a joke now. Like everything that you don't like is a Republican talking point.
I do love it. I'll use that on my wife. One more thing to add about the funny stuff, because I was just laughing, and my wife got home right as like the end of the debate. And of course, I didn't help her putting the groceries away because I had to pay attention to the debate.
Well, of course.
But I was cackling on the couch. I was like, Republican talking points. Put yourself. I was cackling on the couch, and I mean cackling when I want to say Julian Castro, right?
Last debate wasn't he Julian Castro? The last debate. Now he's Julian.
Yeah, Julian. Anyway, so Julian at the end he gives his wrap up speech. And then he goes, so, adios, in this great fucking accent. And it sounded like the waiter at fucking Chi-Chi's, like the white high school waiter at Chi-Chi's, being like, thank you for coming. Here's your check. Adios. Like, it was fucking ridiculous.
So this came up at the last debate, because remember, like, Beto O'Rourke and Cory Booker speaking Spanish?
Yeah, at least there was none of that this debate.
Like, the only Hispanic person on the stage is Julian Castro, and apparently he barely speaks any Spanish at all.
Well, you could tell. You could tell by his sign-up, because it was fucking ridiculous.
Although I would like to say that over both nights, nobody spoke Spanish.
Yeah, thank God. Well, they probably got a lot of notes. CNN probably got notes on that, being like, what are you doing? Why are you doing?
Don't fucking do that anymore, okay? Everybody's freaked out. Don't do it. Okay.
Everybody unanimously, all of America, left and right alike, rolled their eyes when they started speaking Spanish.
Although then again, Beto spoke like 3 words in the first night, so I don't think
Beto, that slave owner. If you saw it, Beto came out as a ancestral descendant of a slave owner. So.
Oh well, I thought he was supposed to be Spanish.
Hey, did you guys see that?
Everybody had slaves.
Did you guys see that Tulsi co-sponsored the Audit the Fed bill?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome. But yet, don't talk about that. They did us fucking cut rates again. Nobody's talking about monetary policy.
Oh, my God.
It affects every single American every single day of their lives. Doesn't matter.
Yes, Libertarian.
Let's see. The stock market's at a record high. Unemployment's at a record low. We better cut rates.
Yeah, right? You see that? There's this awesome thing for like a former, I can't remember, he was like a head of a monetary commission or something, but just like ranting about the exact thing. He's like, this is like, it's in the upside down. It's fucking Stranger Things crazy town.
I think Powell's just afraid he'll get fired if he doesn't.
Yeah, it's probably.
I mean, anybody who doesn't go along with Trump in his administration gets fired. But the Fed is.
What about John Bolton? Will that please happen? I'm waiting. Please fire John Bolton.
Oh my God! I thought after the second dunking on John Bolton and basically literally sending him out to like Mongolia.
Oh, that was
when he went to go meet with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, South Korea, DMZ situation. I thought maybe that was the end, but apparently not. No, he's still there. Like, I thought he would.
Fun of him all the time. He makes fun of him all the time in meetings. He like jokes about John Bolton. He's like, oh, didn't you want to nuke them into dust, John? Like, he mocks him. And Bolton's still there, and Trump's still employing him. I don't fucking get it.
I don't get it either.
All right. Well, how about this next question? Which candidates do you think helped themselves the most in this debate, and which one hurt themselves the most in this debate?
Well,
Go ahead.
I think, even though I didn't know who the hell he was before this, I think Bennett, like to most normal Americans that were listening, are like, oh, holy shit, one of these people is actually saying some reasonable things.
That's my pick too.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tulsi helped herself. I mean, I wish she went a little more hard anti-war, but maybe that doesn't play that well to the rest of America that aren't libertarian.
No, she went I think she pretty good, like anti-war later on. She had to warm up to it a little bit.
I guess she had to talk about other things too. She can't just be she's just the one that wants to end the wars and nothing else.
Yeah.
I think Kamala Harris hurt herself tonight bad.
Jen?
I would say if I had to go with just tonight, I would say Bennett, who I and both my husband are now referring to as like Charlie Kirk shrunk face, because have you ever seen those memes where like somebody shrinks Charlie Kirk's face? It looks like that. But I mean, I don't think anybody came off particularly well. Like, I think Tulsi could have done better with the time that she was given.
Yeah.
And she wasn't given a shit ton of time. So there's that. So I don't really think anybody came off super good in this debate, honestly.
I think that I actually think that, so I agree, Bennett definitely, I think, came off pretty well to me. I also think that you guys might not agree with me on this. I actually think that Joe Biden did a lot for himself in this debate. He may not have, he had his doddering old senile moments, but he showed energy and spunk. I thought that he actually did a decent job of going on the attack and defending himself much more than in the first debate. So I think he actually made ground up, and in the meantime also made Harris look real bad, as did everybody. I mean, Harris just, like I said, Harris came out just abysmally, and I think Gillibrand too. I think Gillibrand really came off shitty.
Oh, God, yeah. No.
Like awful. She didn't have much time. When she did, she just kind of wasted it.
I mean, I think, and here's my thing, and this is also kind of the way I view Bernie on night one. It is like, okay, you didn't give me anything new. And I mean, yeah. Biden did better than he did on the first debates. Like he was more awake and present and reactive.
Not a high bar, but yes, I agree.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
But he doesn't need a high bar. He's the front runner. That's the thing. If he just keeps even keel, he's fine. Like, he'll get the nomination.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the Clinton people.
Let Jen finish her statement.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I mean, no, you can go, but
I was just gonna say the Clinton people won't let Sanders get it. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, he did well enough. I will say that. And everybody else, like, I'm very underwhelmed by night two, honestly. Aside from Julian Castro kind of trying to introduce immigration discussions that might actually like be something of a productive solution to something, I'm underwhelmed, honestly.
This is just pure night two racism. Speaking of did you guys catch any unintentionally racist statements from candidates tonight?
I didn't. I mean, Biden stayed away from that for obvious reasons. Biden stayed the fuck away from that. But the topic didn't come up, and there's surprisingly, right? Because race came up like a million times night one. Like, I watched some supercut where they said racism like 130 times. Yeah, like night one and night two are completely different kinds of things. And if you didn't watch night one, I would say go back and watch it, because and even going back to the first Democratic debates, night one, night two, they're really different.
I wish I had made a drinking game. If I had known that Jen was going to talk about night one so many times tonight, I would have made a drinking game where people had to drink listening to this podcast every time you say night one. People would be hammered off their ass. They'd be destroyed.
Sorry, but this one just was not. I mean, it just wasn't like it wasn't as interesting as night one.
Drink, everybody drink. Okay,
everybody drink. Just
Howie, did anything catch your eye? Or anything racist?
So no, I didn't hear anything racist, but I also don't think Trump's Baltimore tweets are racist. So maybe I'm not the best to judge.
I didn't either, but I'll tell you.
But I'll tell you one thing that is racist: the DCCCC. I don't know, but how many C's there are in it?
I think there's 3.
They're like half of it is white people, but people are complaining there's too many white people. They just laid off a bunch of staff because they're white.
Yeah, they fired like 10 white people
because of the color of their skin.
Yeah, they fired everybody.
Yeah, that is
because of the color of their skin.
Yep,
that's some racist shit right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, man. Well, I'll tell you the one thing that caught my ear/eye. They were talking about segregation in schools, and that was one thing where I was like, it's not racist, but just it pissed me off because they're talking about how schools are segregated right now. And I'm like, well, they fucking wouldn't be if you had vouchers and you had school choice for people, because then they could just mix and match. You can send your kids to different schools and you have people integrating, don't you? So that was something that really pissed me off and I thought was kind of racist.
Yeah. I was, when they said that, I was like, really? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not in school, so
yeah,
I had to take his word for it. But
yeah.
I'll take it a step further. De Blasio actually came out saying that he fucking hates charter schools and he hates school choice in New York, and that everybody
keep those black kids in the ghetto, I say.
And everybody who's for it is some kind of elitist fuckwit, I guess. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. De Blasio is definitely against school choice.
That's exactly. That's anybody against school choice. Anybody that's for public, just sucking the dick of these fucking unions and is against school choice, against vouchers, against charter schools. They keep children segregated. 100%.
I hate public schools and I hate unions.
Yep. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. What about this? How about who do you think's not going to make it through to the next round of the debates?
Oh, I will let
I need to pull up like a picture of who all was in tonight's, because it's gonna be at least half of them, because they're cutting it down from 20 to 10.
I didn't realize that.
Right?
So I'm sure,
right. We need a Game of Thrones thing.
I'm sure, even though I think he should stay, Bennett will be out. I think Inslee will be out. I think De Blasio will be out. Let's see who else was in tonight's. I think will be out. Some people. I
agree. I think Gillibrand will be gone. Gillibrand,
I think she might have staying power, but
I don't, man. She just had such a shitty show, and she's polling at atrocious levels too. She's polling at sub Tulsi Gabbard levels.
Oh, okay.
Jen, any inspirations from those names? I think Bennett might make it through. By the way, I think he might make it.
He only got in because Swalwell dropped out.
Swalwell.
Yeah.
Swalwell.
He had to have him drop out to even get in the debate.
I don't know, man. I think Gillibrand. Honestly, Andrew Yang will stand because he's interesting enough, and I guess he's kind of pulling well. But I also thought he was a little underwhelming tonight. He had a couple good points, but Inslee's definitely gone. I think Gillibrand's gone. I guess probably Bennett's gone.
Okay, so I predicted that nobody would drop out between the first and second rounds, and Swole. Whatever the fuck you pronounce his name, he proved me wrong. But here's my thing: is I don't think that anybody currently in is going to drop out before, say, the holidays / first of the year. And here's why. There's so many people polling at abysmal numbers that there's no reason for you to drop out because you're polling at an abysmal number. And the dichotomy between polling and fundraising is so massive right now. It's insane. Like, for quarter two, Pete Buttigieg smoked everybody on fundraising. Like, I forget, it's either $25 or $27 million in quarter two. The next person up was Sanders with 18 million.
Yeah.
And Buttigieg is polling at what? Not even 5%. So if there's no real good reason for you to drop out at this point, and this is also, it's incredibly early. Like this is
Wait,
this whole thing is like insanely early.
Was the question drop out or not makes the next debate?
Who's going to not make this debates though? Because it goes like, if you're not in the debates, I think you're going to be done.
It goes from 20 to 10 for the next debate. So
I mean, even Cory Booker, right? I mean, Cory Booker honestly sucked ass tonight too. He could drop out, or he could not get the next debate.
My wife hates his voice so much; she like goes crazy every time he speaks. She thinks he sounds like a retarded Arnold Schwarzenegger. I didn't hear it, but then she played a clip of when he was trying to speak Spanish, and it's like, oh yeah, that sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm like, all right.
I'll even take up that point because I have been somebody who's been very vocal in saying that the DNC fucked up in the way that they did these debates. Like, they screwed up. And now they're trying to rectify their fuck up. I'm not entirely sure what the requirements are supposed to be for the debates in September. And from what I understand, neither are any of the campaigns. So who is and is not going to qualify, I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think anybody's going to drop out. I think everybody's going to try to meet whatever requirements they have. And God, please make this be one night of debate. Please. That's all I fucking ask.
Well, it's definitely, they're cutting it down to 10. So that should just be one. And I'd like to ask all of our listeners right now, close your eyes and through your third eye, send out all the good vibes and energy to try to make sure that Marianne makes it into the next round.
Yeah, Marianne.
Marianne's making it in.
If all the Lions' psychic energy combined wills this, it will happen.
Oh, that ain't even a question. She's making it in.
Yeah.
But
we got to beat those dark forces.
But not that anybody in the DNC ever listens to me ever, obviously. But when I did my 2016 postmortem, I specifically said that the DNC should not make the same mistake that the RNC made in 2015 and letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry fucking run and put them all on the stage. And they did that and then some. Like, you've got 20 candidates on a stage. You have to split this up between 2 nights. Like, who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Like,
the ratings monsters, that's who.
Like, this is horrible. Like, we have to watch 4 hours of debates. No. Please.
Not even debates. I wouldn't even call them debates. 4 hours of, posturing, personal attacks, and bumper stickering. That's really what all these things are.
Jake Tapper, bless his heart, tried his best.
He did. Oh, well, what was your favorite? Yeah, I would have wrap up on this. What was your favorite moderator moment, if you have one, of the evening?
Of this evening?
I know it might be hard to think of, but we'll say non-debate candidate moments. How about that? What's your favorite non-debate candidate moment of the evening?
You're going to be so mad at me because my absolute Jake Tapper favorite moment was night 1. And why did nobody
drink?
Drink. No, because Jake actually started off by calling out both Bernie and Liz on the fact that in going back to the first debates, that Bernie had to admit that in order to do Medicare for all the way he wants to do it, he'd have to raise taxes on the middle class. And Jake called them out on it, and they both ducked the question. But
yeah, well, of course they did. Yeah,
odd V. But I mean, I think Jake did the best job of all the moderators.
All right. I think I already voiced my. I loved where Don Lemon pushed. Oh God, I'm blanking on it. Don Lemon pushed Biden on deporting more illegals than Obama or than Trump. Now I'm getting drunk. Now I'm really getting drunk. Yeah, I love that Don Lemon called Biden out on that. It was like, well, didn't you deport more people than Donald Trump has? And blah, blah, blah. So that, and would you continue to do that or whatever it was? So that was a great moment. And also, I greatly enjoyed the incoherent heckling that overtook several parts of the debate.
I just wish they gave the hecklers some microphones. I
know. What the fuck were they saying?
Yeah.
Come on. This is ratings, people. People want to hear this.
Yeah, they're like, I'm like, what?
I was so down for the heckling. Like, Hell yes. Heckle every one of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Do it.
I think one of the moment I liked was, I think it was Dana Bash asking Kirsten Gillibrand how in any way this Green New Deal is realistic. Like how could they realistically do any of this?
Yeah. And the Democrats were like, it doesn't matter, man. It's just gotta, as long as you believe.
Yeah.
Everybody touch your heart.
I think that's what you went into, like, we didn't think it'd be easy to put a man on the moon, but JFK did it. So we'll figure out a way to magic up all this money.
Yeah, that was a lot of like everybody's wrap-up speeches too. What is it, Biden's? We're America. We could do anything. We could go ahead. If we had a wooden leg, we could jump over a cow. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Joe?
Being a conspiracy guy, though, whenever everyone's like, we put a man on the moon, I'm always like, did we, though?
Yeah. Oh, how about Tulsi Gabbard, by the way, at the end of the, and maybe I'll wrap on this just because it's kind of funny and I got to edit the show. But what did any of you understand what what Kamala Harris was talking about? She went on about Donald Trump being a predator for 5 minutes, and I didn't know what her goddamn point was.
Every time she said that, I just thought about Hillary Clinton calling like African Americans predators.
Right? Yeah.
So I don't know.
Super predators, Howie.
Kamala Harris is a cop.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, like, what's worse than a predator killer? Or like, what are you if you can beat the predators? Try something awful.
You're an even bigger predator. All right. Well, that'll do it, folks. Thank you both for joining me. Howie, always a pleasure. Jen, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can listen to you.
Okay, so you can find me on all of your podcast catchers, either if you look for me at Jen the Libertarian or Jen Monroe. And you can find me on Twitter, same way. Look for me under either Jen the Libertarian or Jen Monroe. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And yeah, that's about it.
There you go. You can find me, Brian McWilliams, on Electric Liberty Land every Wednesday. And of course, Howie, you can find here, there, and everywhere as one of the founders of the Lions of Liberty, the godfather of the Lions of Liberty, really. I mean, I guess we founded the website, but Howie was a man who set the things in motion. And of course, he joins us on our various programs. So, guys, that's going to do it. Enough of talking about these lunatics. We'll have to see who makes the cut. And in the meantime, keep on fighting the good fight for liberty. And to all of you out there listening, thanks a lot. And we'll talk to you later. That's it.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys. Goodbye to all you watchers.
Hey, one thing, I forgot to say.
What?
This doesn't have to be in the show or anything, but so at the end when Tulsi was giving her like closing like statement about like easing tensions and we didn't have to be in all these like dumb wars and stuff, she actually says like it doesn't have to be this way at all. It's like that's what Scott Hord keeps saying in those exact words, what she should be saying. Yeah. Like, holy shit, is she listening to Scott Hord?
That'd be awesome if she was.
And because I kind of feel like that in her co-sponsoring the End the Fed thing or Audit the Fed, like I think there's some libertarians in her ear, like giving her some pointers.
Oh, guaranteed, man. I guarantee there are. Well, there were libertarians at the live event in L.A. Like she talked to Carrie Wedler, interviewed her, and a couple other people. So Andrew Yang was saying libertarians were in his coalition, but I think she's probably got more of them.
All right. Well,
another thing I think about it, like a couple of the points that Biden was making when he was hammering Kamala on her healthcare plan, which we fucked up. We didn't talk about the healthcare plan.
That's all right. We got a lot of shit. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Everybody knows it's socialist nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like, did you read Peter Suderman's piece on Kamala Care? Like, really kind of like nailing her on the fact of like, this is going to be insanely expensive. It's going to take place after, even if she serves 2 terms, it's going to take place after she leaves office.
Yep.
And I was just like, damn, son.
No, Biden went in swinging. Like I didn't even know. He's like, it's going to cost $30 trillion. I made a note. I was like, is that accurate? I haven't even heard that figure yet.
The first time he said, he's like, this is going to cost $3 trillion over 10 years. And I was like, oh shit, that's a lot of money. And then the next time he came up, he's like, that's going to be $30 trillion.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, like what is it, 3 or 30? That's a big fucking difference.
Yeah.
Like, either way, it's terrible.
Yeah, like the 10-year plan. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to put it off to like after you're done, and you also need to get reelected to accomplish
Exactly.
it.
That way you're never culpable, and you can always be like, oh, well, we're doing it. It's part of the plan. Don't worry.
I did a thing, and then somebody else got elected, and now we're not doing a thing, but it's not my fault.
Yeah, then after it fails, you can be like, well, if only I had another term, I could have made that come before.
Totally.
All right. Well, I'm including this all in the show. I'm going to say goodbye again. Now we're really ending the show. So goodbye from all of us. See you later.
Good night, Lions.
All right. Thank you for listening. Goodbye. Good night. All right. You know what? I have one more thing to add on the end of this show, guys, because I forgot. We didn't get into it. I meant to mention this during the debate, but Cory Booker, coward of the night. And we didn't really talk much about Cory Booker during the show, mostly because he didn't really have anything interesting to say. But he was asked, as were many of the candidates, what they would do about the foreign entanglements, about bringing the troops home. Of course, Tulsi Gabbard was very good on this, saying, I'll bring them all home within the first year. I want them home. I want to focus on infrastructure. I want to focus on what we're doing here at home. I don't want to be entangled. I don't want to have regime change. I don't want to have endless wars. Things you've heard before from her, but are still important to say. Cory Booker, on the other hand, was asked about what he would do with the Middle East, and like a coward, like as an establishment statist shill. And he took the position that, well, we're in the Middle East and we can't pull out because think about the instability that would cause. We can't leave a vacuum. Basically saying, according to Cory Booker, nothing changes. America stays in the Middle East. Our troops stay in the Middle East. We continue to have a presence there forever and ever and ever because, folks, we're never going to get out of there clean. And any of these assholes that say, well, we can't have a vacuum because then the terrorists will get in there, to the same goddamn neocons that have been just fucking shit up for the last 50 years. So that's Cory Booker for you. Okay, now we're done with this show. Goodbye.